Hi guys, alright, I want to make a short video here on how to replace the virus potentiometers. I've made a longer video that goes into how to take it apart. I just want to show you a short video of the actual removal and installation of one of these on the panel board. Um, so the tools that you need, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, obviously, to get the thing open. Soldering iron, wick, and flux come in handy for cleaning. Solder sucker can come in handy. A little flathead screwdriver just to get this screen cable out is really handy, because that's a tough cable to get out. And then cotton swabs and alcohol. I have industrial alcohol, but you can just use isopropyl alcohol 9010 that you can buy at Walgreens if you don't want to buy industrial alcohol. I've done it with less tools. I mean, I've done it with just a soldering iron, wick, and the part. You can do that, and of course the screwdriver, but it's kind of handy to have the other ones there. All right, guys, so we've got our panel board out here, and we're going to go ahead and want to show you how to replace the potentiometer. I want to show you how not to replace one as well. So here's one that I went a little too fast on during a certain step, and I ended up pulling the pads out on two of the pins, and I had to jump them to their locations. Which, it's fine. It works fine. It's a good fix, but it's not exactly what you want to do. You want to clean. It's much better to get a nice clean install. So I don't really need to replace any of these, but I'm just going to look for a wobbly one. I mean, this is one you're going to use a lot for value. Let's replace this one. All right. How do you get these things out safely? Let's explain what's going on with these. So there's two anchor pins that don't do anything except hold it in place. And then there's 4 pins, one of which is redundant or dead, dummy pin. You have a positive, negative, and then you have a wipe. I don't know which one's dummy pin and which one's dead, but that's just why you have 4 and these 2 anchors. So the first thing I want to do is I walk these 2 anchors out by heating up this side, pulling a little bit on it, heating up this side, like you would move a fridge. You just want to walk it out a little bit each step. You're not going to get the whole thing out in one go. You're not. So, we're replacing, this one. So the first thing I do is always just flow a little solder on the joint or the spot that I'm going to be working on. It just helps it come out easier. Just helps the solder flow easier. There we go. Once you get some fresh in there. Yeah, same there. So I've added way too much, but that's okay. That's what we want. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of put a little pressure this way on the pot so that I can start to walk that one out. But I'm not going to do any pressure until my solder is good and flowing. Okay, let's clean our tip because we got. There we go. Why are you not flowing? Come on. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna put a little pressure. I just walked it a little bit, so it's a little crooked now. Not a lot. You're not gonna get it on the first try, so don't try. You'll just end up pulling the pad out. Same here. A little bit of walk. Let it sit. Now I might get this on the second try. Let's see. Actually, I think I went a little too quick and let that last one sit back. Yeah, let your solder cool before you take the pressure off. As you can see, this pin came all the way back. That's all right. All right. Now there's no pin visible sticking out on either side, and it's about ready to come out. So I will get this right side out on this one. Ooh, Just be careful doing that. That's what you don't want to do. You'll scratch the trace. There we go. Nice and flowing. That leg's all the way out now. There's a little bit of solder that's connecting it still, but I'll deal with that a different way. Now we're going to walk this one out. It's going to come all the way. There we go. Just like that. So now we've got the anchors out. We didn't pull any of the pads. Everything looks good. We'll clean that up in a minute. Now we got to get these 4 out. And you might say to yourself, gosh, well, how do you get these 4 out when you'd have to heat this one up and somehow get it out and then go to this one? No. The thing to do, and the mistake I made on this one, is I tried to do them one at a time. I don't know why. It was a stupid mistake. I've done this 100 times and I was in a hurry and I just was stupid. But the thing you want to do, bury these in solder. Just absolutely bury them. All right. So now you can see I've got just a whole ton of solder there. So what I can do now is heat that up, get all of it to flow, and this thing's just going to fall right out. And I'm going to do that by heating all these pins, get all the solder to flow, just wiggle, and it just comes right out. Voila. Now, the thing we do next is we've got a lot of solder to clean up. I'm going to go ahead and start doing that with the solder sucker. And if you can see, I got more solder on this side of the board. So I'm going to heat the side with less solder and suck from the side with more solder. That's the easiest way to get excess off using the solder sucker. I'm going to start with this really big spike here that's on this one pin. And let me get, cables love to twist and get in the way. So I'm going to put my sucker here over that. I need to clean the tip. There we go. Now I didn't use pressure, I just had to kind of wait a little bit because there was so much solder it had to heat up. So you want to try and be fast and quick. Sometimes you can let the iron heat for a little longer on a spot, but don't put pressure on it. All right, now it's not going to be 100% ready yet, but we're ready to clean, and then we can look at what we have left. So let's clean our work area. We don't want any metal specks. So yeah, we've got a little, the anchor holes are perfect. We don't need to do anything with those. We just need to clean. But I don't know if you can see there's a little shiny stuff. That's some flux or some resin from the board that gets heated up. And maybe somebody has a better way of doing it where that doesn't happen, but it seems to always happen to me no matter what board I'm working on. So you want to get your alcohol out. I'm using industrial, but you can use 9010 from Walgreens if you need to, isopropyl. And just clean. And then use the other side to dry. So I can see that like I said, the anchor holes are perfect. There's no issue with those. The issue I have now is getting these little guys cleaned up. And I think I'm going to stick with the solder sucker because I typically have more luck. Now these tips are heat resistant, so I'm just going to heat this pad up, get this to flow, and then see, yeah, I got it, just like that. That's easier than the wick, in my opinion. There we go. Okay, so those holes are really nice and clean now. We've made a bit of a mess with excess solder. Let's see what just falls off. And let's kind of, I'm just going to get a paper towel and wipe that up real quick. All right, so let's see what we can get just with a Q-tip. I can probably get almost all of it, if not all of it. So we've got a nice, everything's real nice and clean now. We're ready to pop our new part in. So let's get that going. And I always put the 4 pins in first. Make sure they're, sometimes when you buy these, the pins are, like I can see right now, the pins are a little bit out of alignment. So I'm gonna, like, I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna just nudge this 1 pin over. It's real easy to bend these around as you need to. I always start getting those in because I know the anchors are gonna go in. Those holes are really clean, but sometimes these can trick you. They look really good. Let's just take a quick look through the magnifying glass. Yeah, those are nice and clean. My pins are going to go right through. And there we go. Now the trick here is, I use a little, I have a special little tool for this. Just something thin, but we got a little bit of thickness to it. Because if I flip this over, that thing can just fall out, or it won't seat properly. You don't want to mount it like off to the side or like too far forward or too far back. You want to mount it nice and square. And one trick to doing that is just get something, put all the weight of the board on this one by putting something very thin underneath that and putting that pot shaft on there. I'm just going to take a quick look, make sure that it's nice and straight. I'll start with the anchors. These are easy. Don't need to really see what's going on. Just bury them in solder. There we go. There we go. Those are nice and firm now, so I'm going to get my magnifying glass out for the last bit. You could do this without a magnifying glass. I've done it, but man, these pins are close together. So it's definitely easier to have a magnifying glass than to not. If you buy a soldering iron, I definitely recommend buying one that's got a magnifying glass. Is this the right one? Yeah, it's the right one. These are super easy to put back on, especially if you have a magnifying glass. And there we go. There's 1, 4. Perfect. All right. And we got a little bit of cleanup to do after that. Sometimes when you're putting them back on, same thing happens, a little flux, a little something gets on the board and makes this shiny sticky spots. And I just want to clean that up. And there we go. So, turn the iron off. That is how you do it. And there we go. We have a nice new pot, ready to rock and roll. Nice clean soldering job, nice clean board. Everything looks good. Everything lines up nicely. And, you know, this one gets used. I didn't really need to replace it, but it does get used a lot. So, you know, this is a perfect one to replace for an example. So, all right, guys, that's it. That's how you take out and swap in a new potentiometer on an Access virus synthesizer. Last thing I wanted to talk about real quick, and I'll talk about this more at length in another video, but I launched a new online web store at captainblacks.app. That's captainblacks.app, and you can purchase your potentiometers there. I've got, I think, the best price on the internet for Access virus potentiometers, and I'm in the United States, unlike all the other suppliers who are in Italy or Spain, so shipping is going to be fast. They're $5 each. The more you buy, the cheaper they get. I think the discount's either 10 and 20% as you buy more. And yeah, so just a full disclosure as well, these are not the original Alps. They don't; those are out of production. Alps no longer makes these with this shaft dimension. So, but these are clones and they work just fine. As you can see, I just installed one in my own Virus C. I've got one there going, and one there as well, and one here that I installed poorly, but we already talked about that. So anyway, yeah, they work just fine. They feel good. They feel just like the rest of the pots. All right, guys, we're back with the Virus put back together here. And I just want to demonstrate, this is the potentiometer that we replaced. And as you can see, works perfectly. If you can't see so well, I've got a PVMA Lux in this one. It's a really nice screen, but let me tilt it up. It's made for that viewing angle, so here you go. You can see now that this pot works perfectly. There you go. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys in the next video.